The Hippolytus by Euripides. Characters: Aphrodite, Hippolytus, the bastard son of Theseus. The attendants of Hippolytus, a chorus of treason women. The nurse of Phaedra, Phaedra, the wife of Theseus, Theseus, and a messenger. The scene is before the royal palace at Treason. There is a statue of Aphrodite on one side, on the other a statue of Artemis. There is an altar before each image. The goddess Aphrodite appears alone. Wide over man my realm extends, and proud the name that I, the goddess Cypris, bear, both in heaven's court and amongst all those who dwell within the limits of the sea and bounds of Atlas, beholding the sun god's light. Those that respect my power I advance to honor, but bring ruin to all those who vaunt themselves at me. For even in the race of gods this feeling finds a home, even pleasure at the honor men pay them. And the truth of this I soon will show. For that son of Theseus, born of the Amazon, Hippolytus, whom holy Pythias taught, alone of all the dwellers in this land of treason, calls me vilest of the deities. Love he scorns, and as for marriage, will none of it. But Artemis, daughter of Zeus, sister of Phoebus, he doth honor, counting her the chief of goddesses. And ever through the greenwood, attendant on his virgin goddess, he clears the earth of wild beasts with his fleet hounds, enjoying the comradeship of one too mortal ken. 'Tis not this I grudge him, no, why should I? But for his sins against me, I will take this very day vengeance on Hippolytus. For long ago I cleared the ground of many obstacles, so it needs but trifling soil. For as he came one day from the home of Pythias to witness the solemn mystic rites and be initiated therein in Pandion's land, Phaedra, his father's noble wife, caught sight of him, and by my design she found her heart was seized with wild desire. And ere she came to this treason realm, a temple did she rear to Cypris hard by the rock of Pallas, where it overlooks this country, for love of the youth in another land. And to win his love, in days to come, she called after his name the temple she had founded for the goddess. Now, when Theseus left the land of Cecrops, flying the pollution of the blood of Pallas' sons, and with his wife sailed to this shore, content to suffer exile for a year, then began the wretched wife to pine away in silence, moaning beneath love's cruel scourge, and none of her servants knows what disease afflicts her. But this passion of hers must not fail thus. No, I will discover the matter to Theseus, and all shall be laid bare. Then will the father slay his child, my bitter foe, by curses. For the Lord Poseidon granted this boon to Theseus, 3 wishes of the god to ask, never to ask in vain. So Phaedra is to die, and honored death 'tis true, but still to die. For I will not let her suffering outweigh the payment of such forfeit by my foes as shall satisfy my honor. But lo, I see the son of Theseus coming hither, Hippolytus, fresh from the labors of the chase. I will get me hence. At his back follows a long train of retainers, and joyous cries of revelry uniting in hymns of praise to Artemis, his goddess. For little he recks that death hath opened his gates for him, and that this is his last look upon the night. Aphrodite vanishes. Hippolytus and his retinue of hunting attendants enter singing. They move to worship at the altar of Artemis. Come, follow, friends, singing to Artemis, daughter of Zeus, throned in the sky, whose votaries we are. Lady goddess, awful queen, daughter of Zeus, all hail. Hail, of Latona and of Zeus, peerless mid the virgin choir, who hast thy dwelling in heaven's wide mansions at thy noble father's court, in the golden house of Zeus. All hail, most beauteous Artemis, lovelier far than all the daughters of Olympus. For thee, O mistress of mine, I bring this woven wreath, culled from a virgin meadow, where nor shepherd dares to herd his flock, nor ever scythe hath mown. But over it the mead unshorn, the bee doth wing its way in spring, and with the dew from rivers drawn purity that garden tends. Such as know no cunning lore, yet in whose nature self-control, made perfect, hath a home. These may pluck the flowers, but not the wicked world. Accept, I pray, dear mistress mine, this chaplet from my holy hand to crown thy locks of gold. For I, and none other of mortals, have this high guerdon to be with thee converse, hearing thy voice, though not thy face beholding. So be it mine to end my life as I began. My prince, we needs must call upon the gods, our lords, so wilt thou listen to a friendly word from me? Why, that I will, else were I proved a fool. Dost know, then, the way of the world? Not I, but wherefore such a question? It hates reserve which careth not for all men's love, and rightly too. Reserve in man is ever galling. But there's a charm in courtesy, the greatest surely, aye, and profit too, at trifling cost. Dost thou think the same law holds in heaven as well? I say it doth, since all our laws we men from heaven draw. Why then dost thou neglect to greet an august goddess? Whom speakest thou of? Keep watch upon thy tongue, lest it same mischief cause. Cypris, I mean, whose image is stationed over at the gate. I greet her from afar, preserving still my chastity. Yet she is an august goddess, far renowned on earth. Amongst gods as well as men we have our special preferences. I wish thee luck and wisdom too, so far as thou dost need it. No god whose worship craves the night hath charms for me. My son, we should avail us of the gifts that God confers. Go in, my faithful followers, and make ready food within the house. A well-filled board hath charms after the chase is over. Rub down my steeds ye must, that when I have had my fill, I may yoke them to the chariot and give them proper exercise. As for thy queen of love, a long farewell to her. Hippolytus goes into the palace, followed by all the attendants, except the leader, who prays before the statue of Aphrodite. Meantime I, with sober mind, for I must not copy my young master, do offer up my prayer to thy image, Lady Cypris, and such words as it becomes a slave to use. But thou shouldest pardon all who, in youth's impetuous heat, speak idle words of thee. Make as thou hearest not, for gods must needs be wiser with the sons of men. The chorus begins to sing. A rock there is, where, as they say, the ocean dew distills, and from its beetling brow it pours a copious stream, for pitchers to be dipped therein. 'Twas here I a friend washing robes of purple in the trickling stream, and she was spreading them out on the face of warm sunny rocks. From her I had the tidings, first of all, that my mistress was wasting on the bed of sickness, pent within her house, a thin veil overshadowing her head of golden hair. And this is the third day I hear that she hath closed her lovely lips, and denied chaste body all sustenance, eager to hide her suffering, and reach death's cheerless bourne. Maiden, thou must be possessed by Pan frantic, or by Hecate, or by the Corbyantes dread, and the Sibyl, the mountain mother. Or maybe thou hast sinned against Dictymia, huntress queen, and art wasting for thy guilt in sacrifice unoffered. But she doth range over lake's expanse, and past the bounds of earth upon the ocean's tossing billows. Or doth some rival in thy house beguile thy lord, the captain of Erechtheus' sons, that hero nobly born, to secret amours hid from thee? Or hath some mariner sailing hither from Crete reached this port that sailors love, with evil tidings for our queen, and she with sorrow for her grievous fate is to be her bed confined? Yea, and oft over woman's wayward nature settles a feeling of miserable helplessness, arising from pains of childbirth or of passionate desire. I too have felt at times this sharp thrill shoot through me, but I would cry to Artemis, queen of archery, who comes from heaven to aid us in our travail, and thanks to heaven's grace she ever comes at my call with welcome help. Look, where the aged nurse is bringing her forth from the house before the door, while on her brow the cloud of gloom is deepening. My soul longs to learn what is her grief, the canker that is wasting our queen's fading charms. Phaedra is led out of the palace upon a couch by the nurse in attendance. Oh, the ills of mortal men, the cruel diseases they endure. What can I do for thee, from what refrain? Here is the bright sunlight, here the azure sky. Lo, we have brought thee on thy bed of sickness without the palace. For all thy talk was of coming hither. But soon back to thy chamber wilt thou hurry. Disappointment follows fast with thee. Thou hast no joy in aught for long. The present has no power to please. On something absent next thy heart is set. Better be sick than tend the sick. The first is but a single ill, and the last unites mental grief with manual toil. Man's whole life is full of anguish. No respite from his woes he finds. But if there is aught to love beyond this life, night's dark pall doth wrap it round. And so we show our mad love of this life, because its light is shed on earth, and because we know no other, and have not revealed to us all our earth may hide, and trusting to fables we drift at random. Lift my body, raise my head, my limbs are all unstrung, kind friends. O handmaids, lift my arms, my shapely arms. The tire on my head is too heavy for me to wear. Away with it, and let my tresses over my shoulders fall. Be of good heart, dear child, toss not so wildly to and fro. Lie still, be brave, so wilt thou find thy sickness easier to bear, suffering for mortals in nature's iron law. Oh, but would I could draw a draught of pure water from some dew-fed spring, and lay me down to rest in the grassy meadow beneath the poplar shade. My child, what wild speech is this? Oh, say not such things in public, at least. Wild, whirling words of frenzy bred. Away to the mountain take me, to the wood, to the pine trees we'll go, where hounds pursue their prey, hard on the scent of dappled fawns. Ye gods, what joy to hark them on, to grasp the barbed dart, to poise Thessalian hunting spears close to my golden hair, then let them fly. Why, my child, these anxious cares? What hast thou to do with the chase? Why so eager for the flowing spring, when hard by these towers stand a hill-wetted water, whence thou mayest freely draw? O Artemis, who watchest over sea-beat Limna and the race-course thundering to the horses' hooves, would I were upon thy plains, curbing Venetian steeds. Why betray thy frenzy in these wild whirling words? Now thou wert for hasting hence to the hills away to hunt wild beasts, and now thy yearning is to drive the steed over the waveless sands. This needs a cunning seer to say what god it is that reins thee from thy course, distracting thy senses, child. But me, what have I done? Whither have I strayed, my senses leaving? Madness, stricken by some demon's curse, and woe is me. Cover my head again, nurse. Shame fills me for the words that I have spoken. Hide me from my eyes as the tear drops. For the very shame I turn them away. 'Tis painful coming to one's senses again, and madness, evil though it be, has this advantage, that one has no knowledge of reason's overthrow. There then I cover thee. But when will death hide my body in the grave? Many a lesson length of days is teaching me. Yea, mortal men should pledge themselves to moderate friendships only, not to such as reach the very heart's core. Affection's ties should be light upon them to let them slip or draw them tight. For one poor heart to grieve for twain, as I do for my mistress, is a burden sore to bear. Men say that too engrossing pursuits in life more oft cause disappointment than pleasure, and too oft are woes to health. Wherefore do not praise excess so much as moderation, for with me wise men will agree. O aged dame, faithful nurse of Phaedra, our queen, we see her sorry plight. But what is it that ails her we cannot discern? For so fain would learn of thee and hear thy opinion. I have questioned her, but am no wiser, for she will not answer, nor tell what sources these sorrows have. The same answer thou must take, for she is dumb on every point. And look how weak and wasted is her body. And what marvel is that? 'Tis 3 days now since she has tasted food. Is this infatuation or an attempt to die? Yet 'tis death she courts. Such fasting aims at ending life. A strange story, if it satisfies her husband. She hides from him her sorrow and vows she is not ill. Can he not guess it from her face? He is not now in his own country. But dost not thou insist in thy endeavor to find out her complaint, her mind? I have tried every plan, and all in vain. Yet now, even now, will I relax my zeal, that thou, too, if thou stayest, mayst witness my devotion to my unhappy mistress. Come, come, my darling child, let us forget, the twain of us, our former words. Be thou more mild, smoothing that sullen brow, and changing the current of thy thought. And I, if in aught before failed in humoring thee, will let that be and find some better course. If thou art sick with ills thou canst not name, there be women here to help to set thee right. But if thy trouble can to men's ears be divulged, speak, that physicians may pronounce on it. Come then, why so dumb? Thou shouldest not so remain, my child, but scold me if I speak amiss, or if I give good counsel, yield assent. One word, one look this way. Friends, we waste our toil to no purpose. We are as far away as ever. She would not relent to my arguments then, nor is she yielding now. Well, then grow more stubborn than the sea, yet be assured of this, that if thou diest thou art a traitress to thy children. For they will never inherit thy father's halls, nay, by that knightly queen the Amazon, who bore a son to lord it over thine, a bastard born, but not a bastard bred, whom well thou knowest, Hippolytus. At the mention of his name, Phaedra's attention is suddenly caught. Oh dear, huh? That doth touch the quick. Thou hast undone me, nurse. I do adjure by the gods, mention that man no more. There now, thou art thyself again, but even yet refusest to aid thy children and preserve thy life. My babes I love, but there is another storm that buffets me. Daughter, are thy hands from bloodshed pure? My hands are pure, but on my soul there rests a stain. The issue of some enemy's secret witchery? A friend is my destroyer, one unwilling as myself. Hast Theseus wronged thee in any wise? Never may I prove untrue to him. Then what strange mystery is there that drives thee on to die? Oh, let my sin in me alone. 'Tis not against thee I sin. Never willingly, and if I fail, 'twill rest at thy door. How now, thou usest force in clinging to my hand? Yea, and I will never let loose upon my knees. Alas for thee, my sorrows, shouldst thou learn them, would recoil on thee. What keener grief for me than failing to win thee? 'Twill be death to thee, though to me thou brings renown. And dost thou then conceal this boon despite my prayers? I do, for 'tis out of shame I am planning an honorable escape. Tell it, and thine honor shall the brighter shine. Away, I do conjure thee, loose my hand. I will not, for the boon that shouldest have granted me is denied. I will grant it out of reverence for thy holy suppliant touch. Then henceforth I hold my peace. 'Tis thine to speak from now. Ah, hapless mother, what a love was thine! Her love for the bull, daughter, or what meanest thou? Oh, woe to thee, my sister, bride of Dionysus! What ails thee, child, speaking ill of kith and kin? Myself the third to suffer, how am I undone? Thou strikest me dumb. Where will this history end? That love has been our curse from long time past. I know no more of what I would fain to learn. Ah, would thou couldst say it for me, and I will have to tell. I awe no prophetess to unriddle secrets. What is it they mean when they talk of people being in love? At once the sweetest and the bitterest thing, my child. I only find the latter half. My child, art thou in love? The Amazon's son, whoever he may be. Do you mean Hippolytus? 'Twas him, not I, that spoke his name. O heavens, what is this, my child? Thou hast ruined me. Outrageous friends, I will not live and bear it. Hateful is life, hateful to mine eyes the light. This body I resign, will cast it off and rid me of existence by my death. Farewell, my life is over. Yea, for the chaste I have wicked passions, against their will maybe, but still they have. Cypris, it seems, is not goddess after all, but something far greater, for she hath been the ruin of my lady, and of me, and of our whole family. Oh, too clearly didst thou hear our queen uplift her voice, to tell her startling tale of piteous suffering. Come death, ere I reach thy state of feeling, loved mistress. O horrible woe for these miseries, woe for the sorrows on which mortals feed. Thou art undone, thou hast disclosed thy sin to heaven's light. What hath each passing day and every hour in store for thee? Some strange event will come to pass in this house, for it is no longer uncertain where the love is setting, thou hapless daughter of Crete. Women of treason, who dwell here upon the frontier edge of Pelops' land, oftener now in heedless mood through the long hours of night have I wondered, my man's life is spoiled. And it seems to me their evil case is not due to any natural fault of judgment, for there be many dowered with sense, but we must view the matter in this light, by teaching and experience to learn the right but neglect it in practice, some from sloth, others from preferring pleasure of some kind or other to duty. Now life has many pleasures, protracted talk and leisure, that seductive evil. Likewise there is shame, which is of two kinds, one a noble quality, the other a curse to families. But if for each its proper time were clearly known, these twain could not have had the self-same letters to denote them. So then, since I had made up my mind on these points, 'twas not likely any drug would alter it, and make me think the contrary. And I will tell thee too the way my judgment went. When love wounded me, I bethought me how I best might bear the smart. So from that day forth I began to hide in silence what I suffered, for I put no faith in counselors, who know well to lecture others for presumption, yet themselves have countless troubles of their own. Next I did devise noble endurance of these wanton thoughts, striving by continence for victory. And last, when I could not succeed in mastering love hereby, methought it best to die, and none can gainsay my purpose. For fain I would my virtue should to all appear, and my shame have few to witness it. I knew my sickly passion now, to yield to it I saw infamous, and more, I learnt to know so well that I was but a woman, a thing the world detests. Curses, hideous curses on that wife who did first shame her marriage, vow for lovers other than her lord. 'Twas from noble families this curse began to spread among our sex. For when the noble countenance disgrace, poor folk, of course, will think that it is right. Those too I hate who make profession of purity, though in secret reckless sinners. How can these, Queen Cyprus, Ocean's child, ever look their husbands in the face? Do they never feel one guilty thrill that their accomplice night or the chambers of their house will find a voice and speak? This is that calls me to die, kind friends, so that I may never be found to have disgraced my lord or the children I have borne him. No, may they grow up and dwell in glorious Athens, free to speak and act, heirs to such fair fame as a mother can bequeath. For to know that father or mother has sinned doth turn the stoutest heart to slavishness. This alone, men say, can stand the buffets of life's battle, a just and virtuous soul in whomsoever found. For time unmasks the villains soon or late, holding up to them a mirror as to some blooming maid. Amongst such may I never be seen. Now look, how fair is chastity, however viewed, whose fruit is good repute among men. My queen, 'tis true thy tale of woe, but lately told, did for the moment strike me with wild alarm. But now I do reflect upon my foolishness. Second thoughts are often best, even with them. Thy fate is not so uncommon, nor past one's calculations. Thou art stricken by the passion Cypris sends. Thou art in love. What wonder? So are many more. Wilt thou, because thou lovest, destroy thyself? 'Tis little gain, I trow, for those who love or may yet love their fellows, if death must be their end. For though the love-queen onset in her might is more than men can bear, yet doth she gently visit yielding hearts, and only when she finds a proud unnatural spirit doth she take and mock it past belief. Her path is in the sky, and mid the ocean's surge she rides. From her all nature springs. She sows the seeds of love, inspires the warm desire to which we sons of earth all owe our being. They who have aught to do with books of ancient scribes, or themselves engaged in sturdiest pursuits, know how Zeus of Semele was enamored, how the bright-eyed goddess of the dawn once stole Cephalus to dwell in heaven for the love she bore him. Yet these in heaven abide, nor shun the gods' approach, content, I trow, to yield to their misfortune. Wilt thou refuse to yield? Thy sire, it seems, should have begotten thee on special terms, or with different gods for masters, if in these laws thou wilt not acquiesce. How many, prithee, men of sterling sense, when they see their wives unfaithful, make as though they saw it not? How many fathers, when their sons have gone astray, assist them in their amours? 'Tis part of human wisdom to conceal the deed of shame, nor should man aim at too great refinement in his life, for they cannot with exactness finish even the roof that covers in a house. And how dost thou, after falling into so deep a pit, think to escape? Nay, if thou hast more of good than bad, thou wilt fare exceedingly well, thy human nature considered. O cease, my darling child, from evil thoughts, let wanton pride be gone, for this is naught else, this wish to rival gods in perfectness. Face thy love, 'tis heaven's will thou should. Sick thou art, yet turn thy sickness to some happy issue, for these are charms and spells to soothe the soul. Surely some cure for thy disease will be found. Men, no doubt, might seek it long and late, if our women's minds no scheme devise. Although she gives thee at thy present need the wiser counsel, Phaedra, yet do I praise thee. Still my praise may sound more harsh and jar more cruelly on thy ear than her advice. 'Tis even this, too plausible a tongue that overthrows good governments and homes of men. We should not speak to please the ear, but point the path that leads to noble fame. What means this solemn speech? Thou needst not rounded phrases, but a man. Straightway must we move to tell him frankly how it is with thee. Had not thy life to such a crisis come, or wert thou with self-control I endowed, never would I gratify thy passions, have urged thee to this course. But now 'tis a struggle fierce to save thy life, and therefore less to blame. Accursed proposal, peace. Woman, never utter those shameful words again. Shameful, maybe, yet for thee better than honor's code. Better this deed, if it shall save thy life, than that thy name, pride, will kill thee to retain. I conjure thee, go no further, for thy words are plausible but infamous. For though as yet love has not undermined my soul, yet if in specious words thou dress thy foul suggestion, I shall be beguiled into the snare from which I am now escaping. If thou art of this mind, 'twere well thou hadst sinned, but as it is, hear me, for that is the next best course. I and my house have charms to soothe thy love, but 'twas now I thought of them. These shall cure thee of thy sickness on no disgraceful terms, thy mind unhurt, if thou wilt be but brave. But from him thou lovest we must get some token, word, or fragment of his robe, and thereby unite in one's love twofold stream. Is thy drug a salve or a potion? I cannot tell. Be content, my child, to profit by it and ask no questions. I fear me thou wilt prove too wise. If thou fear this, confess thyself afraid of all. But why the terror? Lest thou shouldst breathe a word of this to Theseus' son. Peace, my child. I will do all things well. Only be thou, Queen Cypris, Ocean's child, my partner in the work. And for the rest of my purpose, it will be enough for me to tell it to our friends within the house. The nurse goes into the palace. The chorus sings. O love, love, that from the eyes diffuses soft desire, bringing on the souls of those whom dost camp against sweet grace. O never in evil mood appear to me, nor out of time and tune approach. Nor fire nor meteor hurls a mightier bolt than Aphrodite's shaft, shot by the hands of love, the child of Zeus. Idly, idly by the streams of Alpheus and in the Phrygian shrines of Phoebus, Hellas heaps the slaughtered steers, while love we worship not, love the king of men, who holds the key to Aphrodite's sweetest bower. Worship not him who, when he comes, lays waste and marks his path to mortal hearts by widespread woe. There was that maiden in Ochelia, a girl unwed, that knew no wooer yet married joys. Her did the queen of love snatch from her home across the sea, and gave unto Alcimea's son, mid blood and smoke and murderous marriage hymns, to be to him a frantic fiend of hell. Woe, woe for his wooing. Ah, the holy walls of Thebes, a fount of Dirce, yet who could testify what course the love queen follows? For with the blazing levin bolt did she cut short the fatal marriage of Semele, mother of Zeus-born Bacchus. All things she doth inspire, dread goddess, winging her flight hither and thither like a bee. Peace, O women, peace, I am undone. What, Phaedra, is this dread event within thy house? Hush, let me hear what those are within saying. I am silent, this is surely the prelude to evil. Great gods, how awful are my sufferings. What a cry was there, what loud alarm. Say what sudden terror, lady, doth thy soul dismay? I am undone, stand here at the door, and hear the noise arising in the house. Thou art already by the bolted door. 'Tis for thee to note the sounds that issue from within. And tell me, oh tell me what evil can be on foot. 'Tis the son of the horse-loving Amazon, who calls Hippolytus, uttering foul curses on my servant. I hear a noise, but cannot dearly tell which way it comes. 'Tis through the door that sound reacheth thee. Yes, he is calling her plainly enough, a go-between in vice, traitress to her master's honour. Thou art betrayed then, dear mistress. What counsel shall I give thee? Thy secret is out, thou art utterly undone. Oh, my pain, oh me, betrayed by friends. She hath ruined me by speaking my misfortune. 'Twas kindly meant, but an ill way to cure my malady. Oh, what wilt thou do now in thy cruel dilemma? I know of only one way, one cure for these woes, and that is instant death. Hippolytus bursts out of the palace, followed closely by the nurse. O Mother Earth, O sun's unclouded orb, what words unfit for any lips have reached my ears? Peace, my son, lest someone hear thy outcry. I cannot hear such awful words and hold my peace. I do implore thee by thy fair right hand. Let go my hand, touch not my robe. O by thy knees I pray, destroy me not utterly. Why say this, if, as thou pretendest, thy lips are free from blame? My son, this is no story to be noised abroad. A virtuous tale grows fairer told to many. Never dishonour my oath, my son. My tongue an oath did take, but not my heart. My son, what wilt thou do? Destroy thy friends? Friends indeed, the wicked are no friends of mine. Oh, pardon me, to err is only human, child. Great Zeus, why didst thou to man's sorrow, put woman, evil counterfeit, to dwell where shines the sun. If thou wert minded that the human race should multiply, it was not from woman they should have been drawn their stock, but in thy temples they should have paid gold or iron or ponderous bronze and bought a family, each man proportioned to his offering, and so in independence dwelt, from women free. But now as soon as ever we would bring this plague into our home, we bring its fortune to the ground. 'Tis clear from this how great a curse is woman. The very father that begot and nurtured her, to rid him of the mischief, gives her a dower and packs her off, while the husband who takes the noxious weed into his home fondly decks his sorry idol in fine raiment and tricks her out in robes, squandering by degree, unhappy wight, his house wealth. For he is in this dilemma. Say his marriage has brought him good connections, he is glad then to keep the wife he loathes, or if he gets a good wife but useless kin, he tries to stifle the bad luck with the good. But it is easiest for him who has settled in his house, his wife mere cipher, incapable from simplicity. I hate a clever woman. Never may she set foot in my house who aims at knowing more than women need. For in these clever women Cyprus implants a larger store of villainy, while the artless woman is by her shallow wit from levity debarred. No servant should ever have had access to a wife, but men should put to live with them in beasts, which bite, not talk, in which case they could not speak to anyone nor be answered back by them. But as it is, the wicked in their chambers plot wickedness, and their servants carry it abroad. Even thus, vile wretch, thou camest to make me partner in an outrage on my father's honor. Wherefore I must wash that stain away in running streams, dashing the water into my ears. How could I commit so foul a crime, when by the very mention of it I feel myself polluted? Be well assured, woman, 'tis only my religious scruple saves thee, for had not I unawares been caught by an oath before heaven, I would not have refrained from telling all unto my father. But now I will away from the house, so long as Theseus is abroad, and will maintain my silence. But when my father comes, I will return and see how thou and thy mistress face him, and so I shall learn by experience the extent of thy audacity. Perdition seize you both, I can never satisfy my hate for woman. No, not even though some say this is ever my theme, for of a truth they are always evil. So either let someone prove them chaste, or let me still trample on them forever. Hippolytus departs. Oh, the cruel, unhappy fate of women! What arts, what arguments have we, once we have made a slip, to loose by craft the tight-drawn knot? I have met my deserts. O earth, O light of day, how can I escape the stroke of fate? How my pangs conceal, kind friends? What god will appear to help me? What mortal to take my part or help me in unrighteousness? The present calamity of my life admits of no escape, most hapless I of all my sex. Alas, now the deed is done, thy servant's schemes have gone awry, and my queen, all is lost. Accursed women, traitress to thy friends, how hast thou ruined me? May Zeus, my ancestors, smite thee with his fiery bolt and uproot thee from thy place. Did I not foresee thy purpose? Did I not bid thee keep silence on the very matter which is now my shame? But thou wouldest not be still, wherefore my fair name will not go with me to the tomb. But now I must another scheme devise. Yon youth, in the keenness of his fury, will tell his father of my sin, in the age piteous of my state, and fill the world with stories of my shame. Perdition seize thee, and every meddling fool who by dishonest means would serve unwilling friends. Mistress, thou mayest condemn the mischief I have done, for sorrow stings overmasters thy judgment. Yet can I answer thee in face of this, if thou wilt hear. 'Twas I who nurtured thee. I love thee still. But in my search for medicine to cure thy sickness, I found what least I sought. Had I but succumbed, I had been counted wise. Had I but succeeded, I had been counted wise, for the credit we get for wisdom is measured by our success. It is Is it just, is it any satisfaction to me, that thou shouldest wound me first, then bandy words with me? Well, dwell on this too long. I was not wise, I own, but there are ways yet of escape from the trouble, my child. Be dumb henceforth. Evil was thy first advice to me, evil too thy attempted scheme. Begone and leave me, look to thyself. I will my own fortunes for the best arrange. The nurse goes into the palace. Ye noble daughters of treason, grant me the only boon I crave, in silence bury what ye have heard. By majestic Artemis, child of Zeus, I swear I will never divulge aught of thy sorrows. 'Tis well, but I, with all my thought, can but one way discover out of this calamity, so that I may secure my children's honor and find in myself some help as matters stand. For never, never will I bring shame upon my Cretan home, nor will I, to save one's poor life, face Theseus after my disgrace. Art thou bent then on some cureless woe? On death, say I. The means hereto must I devise myself. Be still, my queen. Do thou at least advise me well, for this very day shall I gladden Cypris, my destroyer, by yielding up my life, and shall own myself vanquished by cruel love. Yet shall my dying be another's curse, that he may learn not to exult at my misfortunes. But when he comes to share this self-same plague with me, he will take a lesson in wisdom. Phaedra enters the palace, and the chorus sings, Oh, to be nestling beneath some pathless cavern, there by God's Cretan hand to grow into a bird amid the winged tribes. Away would I soar to Adria's wave-beat shore, and to the waters of Euripides, where a father's hapless daughters in their grief for Phaeton distill in the glooming flood the amber brilliance of their tears, and to the apple-bearing strand of those minstrels in the west then would come, where ocean's lord no more to sailors grants passage over the deep dark main, finding there the heavens' host, upheld by Atlas, where water from ambrosial founts wells up beside the couch of Zeus inside his halls, and holy earth, the bounteous mother, causes joy to spring in heavenly breasts. O white-winged bark that over the booming ocean wave did bring my royal mistress from her happy home, to crown her queen amongst sorrow's brides. Surely evil omens from either port, at least from Crete, were with the ship, what time to glorious Athens it sped its way, and the crew made fast its twisted cable ends upon the beach at Mykonos, and on the land stepped out. Whence comes it that her heart is crushed, cruelly afflicted by Aphrodite with unholy love? So she, by bitter grief overwhelmed, will tie a noose within her bridal bower to fit it to her fair white neck. Too modest for this hateful lot in life, prizing over all her name and fame, and striving thus to rid her soul of passion's sting. The nurse rushes out of the palace. Help! To the rescue all who near the palace stand. She hath hung herself, our queen, the wife of Theseus. Woe worth the day the deed is then done. Our royal mistress is no more. Dead she hangs in the dangling noose. Haste, some one bring a two-edged knife wherewith to cut the knot about her neck. Friends, now what shall we do? Think you we should enter the house and loose the queen from the tight-drawn noose? Why should we? Are there not servants there? To do too much is not a safe course in life. Lay out the hapless corpse then, straighten the limbs. This was a better way to sit at home. This was a bitter way to sit at home and keep my master's house. She is dead, poor lady, 'tis this I hear. Already they are laying out the corpse. Theseus and his retinue enter unnoticed. Women, can ye tell me what the uproar in this palace means? There come the sound of servants weeping bitterly to mine ear. None of my household deign to open wide the gates and give me glad welcome as traveller from prophetic shrines. Hath aught befallen old Pythias? No, though he be well advanced in years, yet should I mourn were he to quit his house. 'Tis not against the old Theseus that fate to strike thee aims this blow. Now prepare thy sorrow for a younger corpse. Is it a child's life death robs me of? The children live, but cruelest news of all for thee, thy mother is no more. My wife dead? By what cruel stroke of chance then? About her neck she tied the hangman's knot. Had grief so chilled her blood, or what had befallen her? I know but this, for I am myself but now arrived at the house to mourn thy sorrows, O Theseus. Why have I crowned my head with woven garlands when misfortune greets my embassage? Unbolt the doors, servants, loose their fastenings, that I may see the piteous sight, my wife, whose death is death to me. The doors of the palace opened, disclosing the corpse. Woe is thee for thy piteous lot! Thou hast done thyself a hurt deep enough to overthrow this family. The daring of it done to death by violence and unnatural means, the desperate effort of thy poor own hand. Who cast a shadow over thy life, poor lady? Ah me, my cruel lot, sorrow hath done her worst on me. O fortune, how heavily hast thou set thy foot on me in my house, by fiendish hands inflicting an unexpected stain. Nay, it is complete effacement of my life, making it not to be lived. For I see, alas, so wide an ocean of grief, and that I can never swim to the shore again, nor breast the tide of this calamity. How shall I speak of thee, my poor wife? What tale of direst suffering tell? Thou art vanished like a bird from the covert of my hand, taking one headlong leap from me into Hades' hall. Alas, this is bitter, bitter sight. This must be a judgment sent by God for the sins of an ancestor, which from some far source I am bringing on myself. My prince, 'tis not to thee alone such sorrows come. Thou hast lost a noble wife, but so have many others. Fain would I go hide beneath earth's blackest depth, to dwell in darkness with the dead in misery, now that I am reft of thy dear presence. For thou hast slain me more than thyself. Who can tell me what caused the fatal stroke that reached thy heart, dear wife? Will no one tell me what befell? Doth my palace all in vain give shelter to a herd of menials? Woe, woe for thee, my wife! Sorrows past speech and past bearing I behold within my house, myself ruined man, my home a solitude, my children orphans. Gone and let us hast thou, fondest wife, and noblest of all, beneath the sun's bright eye or night's star-lit radiance. Poor house, what sorrows are thy portion now! My eyes are wet with streams of tears to see thy fate, but the ill that is to follow has long with terror filled me. And what means this letter? Clasped in her dear hand, it hath some strange tale to tell. Hath she, poor lady, a last request? Written her bidding as to my marriage and her children? Take heart, poor ghost, no wife henceforth shall wed thy Theseus or invade this house. How yon ring affects my sight! Come, I will unfold the sealed packet and read her letter's message to me. Woe then unto us! Here is yet another evil in the train by heaven sent. Looking to what has happened, I should count my lot in life no longer worth one's while to gain. My master's house is ruined, brought to naught, I say it. Spare it, O heaven, if it may be. Hearken to my prayer, for I see, as with prophetic eye, an omen boding ill. Oh, this horror! And still they come, too deep for words, too heavy to bear. Ah me! What is it? Speak, if I may share in it. This letter loudly tells a hideous tale. Where can I escape this load of woe? For I am ruined and undone. So awful are the words I find here written, clear as if she cried them to me. The words declare themselves the harbingers of woe. I can no longer keep the cursed tale within the portal of my lips, cruel though its utterance be. Hippolytus hath dared by brutal force to violate my honor, recking naught of Zeus, whose awful eye is over all. O Father Poseidon, once didst thou promise to fulfill 3 prayers of mine. Answer one of these and slay my son. Let him not escape this single day. if the prayers thou gavest me were indeed with issue fraught. Oh, no, king, I do conjure thee, call that prayer back. Hereafter thou wilt know thy error, hear me, I pray. It cannot be. Moreover, I will banish him from this land, and by one of two fates shall he be struck down. Either Poseidon, out of respect for my prayer, will cast his dead body into the house of Hades, or exiled from this land, a wanderer to some foreign shore, shall he eke out of life of misery. And here he himself doth come, thy son Hippolytus. In good time, now dismiss thy hurtful rage, King Theseus, and bethink thee what is best for thy house. Hippolytus enters. I hear thy voice, father, and hasten to come hither, yet know I not the cause of thy present sorrow, but would fain learn of thee. He sees Phaedra's body. What is this? The wife is dead. 'Tis very strange, it was but now I left her, a moment since she looked upon the light. How came she thus? How the manner of her death? This would I learn of thee, father. Art thou dumb? Silence availeth not in trouble, nay, for the heart that fain would know all must show its curiosity even in sorrow's hour. Be sure it is not right, father, to hide misfortunes from those who love thee. O ye sons of men, victims of 1,000 idle terrors, why teach your countless crafts? Why scheme and seek to find a way for everything, while one thing ye know not ever made, yet hath made your prize, a way to teach them wisdom whose souls are devoid of sense? A very master in his craft, the man who can force fools to be wise. But these ill-timed subtleties of thine, father, make me fear thy tongue is running wild through trouble. A curse upon thee! Man needs should have some certain test set up to try his friends, some touchstone of their hearts to know each friend whether he be true or false. All men should have two voices, one the voice of honesty, expediency the other. So would honesty confute its knavish opposite, and then we could not be deceived. Hath some friend been slandering me, and hath he still thine ear? And I, though guiltless, banned? I am amazed, for thy random frantic words fill me with idle alarm. O the mind of mortal men, to what lengths will it proceed? What limit will its bold assurance have? For if it goes on growing as man's life advances, and each successor outdo the man before him in the villainy, the gods will have to add another sphere unto the world, which shall take in the knaves and villains. Behold this man, he, my own son, hath outraged my honor, his guilt most clearly proved by my dead wife. Now, since thou hast dared this loathly crime, come, look thy father in the face. Art thou the man who dost with gods consort, as one above the vulgar herd? Art thou the chaste and sinless saint? Thy boasts will never persuade me to be guilty of attributing ignorance to the gods. Go then, vaunt thyself, and drive thy petty trade in viands formed of lifeless food. Take Orpheus for thy chief, and go a-revelling, with all honor for the vaporings of many a written scroll, seeing thou now art caught. Let all be aware, I say, of such hypocrites, who hunt their prey with fine words, and all the while are scheming villainy. She is dead. Dost think that this will save thee? Why, this convicts thee more than all, you abandoned wretch. What oaths, what pleas can outweigh this letter, so that thou shouldest escape thy doom? Thou wilt assert she hated thee, that betwixt the bastard and the true-born child nature has put herself. It seems then by thy showing she made a sorry bargain with her life, if to gratify her hate of thee she lost what she most prized. It is said, no doubt, that frailty finds no place in man, but is innate in woman. My experience is, young men are no more secure than women, when so the queen of love excites a youthful breast, although their sex comes in to help them. Yet why do I thus bandy these words, when before me lies the corpse to the clearest of witnesses? Begone at once, in exile from this land, and never set foot again in God-built Athens, nor in the confines of my dominion. For if I am tamely to submit to this treatment from such as thee, No more will Cenas, robber of the isthmus, bear me witness how I slew him, but say my boasts are idle, nor will those rocks Scorionian that fringe the sea call me the miscreant's scourge. I am reconciled with my father at thy desire, yea, forever before I would obey thy bidding. The darkness is settling upon now my eyes. Take me, Father, in thy arms, lift me up. My son, what art thou doing to me, thy hapless sire? I am broken, Father. I see the gates that close upon the dead. Canst leave me thus with murder on my soul? I set thee free from this blood-guiltness. What sayest thou? Dost absolve me from bloodshed? Artemis, the archer queen, is witness that I do. My own dear child, how generous dost thou show thyself to thy father. Farewell, dear father, a long farewell to thee. Oh, that holy, noble soul of thine. Pray to have children such as me born in lawful wedlock. Oh, leave me not, my son, endure here a little while longer. It is finished, Father, my endurance. I die. Quickly veil my face with a mantle. O glorious Athens, realm of Pallas, what a splendid hero ye have lost. How oft shall I remember thy evil works, O Cypris? On all our citizens have come this universal sorrow, unforeseen. Now shall the copious tear gush forth, for sad news about great men takes more than usual hold upon the heart. The end. Father, thy wrath and the tension of thy mind are terrible. Yet this charge, specious though its arguments appear, becomes a calumny, if one lay it bare. Small skill have I in speaking to a crowd, but have a readier wit for comrades of mine own age and small companies. Yea, and this is as it should be, for they whom the wise despise are better qualified to speak before a mob. Yet am I constrained under the present circumstances to break this silence, and at the outset will I take the point which formed the basis of thy stealthy attack on me, designed to put me out of court unheard. Dost see yon sun, this earth? These do not contain, for all thou dost deny, chastely surpassing mine. To reverence God I count the highest knowledge, and to adopt as friends those who attempt not injustice. But such as would blush to propose to their companions aught disgraceful, or pleasure them by shameful service. To mock at friends is not my way, Father, but I am still the same behind their backs as to their face. The very crime thou thinkest to catch me in is but the one I am untainted with, for to this day have I kept me pure from women, nor know I aught for to this day have I kept me from women pure, nor know I aught thereof, save what I hear or see in pictures, for I have no wish to look even on these, so pure my virgin soul. I grant my claim to chastity may not convince thee. 'Tis then for thee to show the way I was corrupted. Did this woman exceed in beauty all her sex? Did aspire she to fill the husband's place after thee, and succeed to thy house? That surely would have made me out a fool, a creature devoid of sense. Thou wilt say, your chaste man loves to lord it. No, say I, sovereignty pleases only those whose hearts are quite corrupt. Now I would be the first and best at all the games in Hellas, but second in the state, forever happy thus with the noblest for my friends. For there one may be happy, and the absence of danger gives a charm beyond all princely joys. One thing I have not said, the rest thou shalt hast. Had I a witness to attest to my purity, and were I pitted against her still alive, facts would show thee on inquiry who the culprit was. Now by Zeus, the god of oaths, and by the earth, whereon we stand, I swear to thee I never did lay a hand upon thy wife, nor would have wished to do so, or have harbored such a thought. Slay me, ye gods, rob me of name and honor, from home and city cast me forth, a wandering exile over the earth, nor sea nor land receive my bones when I am dead, if I am such a miscreant. I cannot say if she through fear destroyed herself, For more than this I am forbid. With her discretion took the place of chastity, while I, though chaste, was not discreet in using this virtue. Thy oath by heaven, strong security, sufficiently refutes the charge. He is a wizard or a magician, to think he can first flout me, his father, then by coolness master my resolve. Father, thy part in this doth fill me with amaze. Wert thou my son, and I thy sire, by heaven, I would have slain, not let thee off with banishment, hadst thou presumed to violate my honor. This is a just remark. Yet shalt thou not die by the sentence thine own lips pronounce upon thyself. For death that cometh in a moment is an easy end for wretchedness. Nay, thou shalt be exiled from thy fatherland, and wandering to a foreign shore drag out a life of misery, for such are the wages of sin. What wilt thou do? Wilt thou banish me without so much as waiting for time's evidence on my case? Yes, that, and beyond the sea, beyond the bounds of Atlas, if I could, so deeply do I hate thee. What? Banish me untried, even without testing my oath, the pledge offer, or the voice of seers? This letter here, though it bears no seer's signs, arraigns thy pledges. For as for the birds that fly over our heads, a long farewell to them. Great gods, why do I not unlock my lips, seeing that I am ruined by you, the objects of my reverence? No, I will not. I should nowise persuade those whom I ought to, and in vain should break the oath I swore. Fire upon thee! That solemn air of thine is more than I can bear. Be gone from thy native land forthwith. And whither shall I turn? Whose friendly house will take me in, an exile on so grave a charge? Seek one who loves to entertain as guests, and partners in his crimes, corrupters of other men's wives. This wounds my heart, Father, and brings me nigh to tears, to think that I should appear so vile, and thou believe me so. The tears and forethought had been more in season when thou didst presume to outrage thy father's wife. I would thou couldst speak for me, my home, and witness if I am so vile. Dost fly to speechless witnesses? This deed, though it speaketh not, proves thy guilt clearly. Would I could stand and face myself, so should I weep to see the sorrows I endure. 'Tis thy character to honor thyself far more than reverence thy parents, as thou should. And my unhappy mother, I am the son of sorrow. Heaven keep all friends of mine from bastard birth. Servants, drag him hence. You heard my proclamation long ago, condemning him to exile. Whoso of them doth lay a hand on me shall rue it. Thyself expel me, if thy spirit move thee from the land. I will, unless my word thou straight obey. No pity for thy exile steals in my heart. Theseus goes into the palace and shuts the doors. The sentence then, it seems, is past, and the misery. How well I know the truth herein, but know no way to tell it. O daughter of Latona, dearest to me of all the deities, Artemis, partner, comrade in the chase, far from glorious Athens must I fly. Farewell, city and land of Erectheus. Farewell, treason, most joyous home wherein to pass the spring of life. 'Tis my last sight of thee. Farewell. Come, my comrades in this land, young like me, greet me kindly and escort me forth, for never will ye behold a purer soul for all my father's doubts. Hippolytus departs. The chorus sings. In very deed the thoughts I have about the gods, whenso they come into my mind, do much to soothe its grief. But though I cherish secret hopes of some great guiding will, yet am I at fault when survey the fate and doings of the sons of men. Change succeeds to change, and man's life veers and shifts in endless resentments. Fortune grant me this, I pray at heaven's hand, a happy lot in life, and a soul free from sorrow. Opinions let me hold, not too precise, nor yet too hollow, but lightly changing my habits to each morrow. As it comes, may I thus attain a life of bliss. For now no more is my mind free from doubts. Unlooked for sights greet my vision, for lo, I see the morning star of Athens. Eye of Hellas, driven by his father's fury to another land. Mourn, ye sands of my native shores, ye oak groves on the hills, where with his fleet hounds he would hunt the quarry to the death, attending on Dictynea, awful queen. No more will he mount his car, drawn by Venetian steeds, filling the course round Limna with the prancing of his trained horses. Never more in his father's house shall he take the muse that never slept beneath his lute strings. No hand will crown the spots, will rest the maiden's Latona mid the boscage deep, nor evermore shall our virgins vie to win thy love, now thou art banished. While I with tears at thy unhappy fate shall endure a lot all undeserved. O hapless mother, in vain didst thou bring forth, it seems. I am angered with the gods, out upon them. O ye linked graces, why are ye sending from his native land this poor youth, guiltless sufferer far from his home? But lo, I see a servant of Hippolytus hasting with troubled looks towards the palace. The messenger enters. Ladies, may I find Theseus, king of the country? Pray, tell me if ye know, is he within the palace? Himself approaches from the palace. Theseus enters. Theseus, I am the bearer of troubled tidings to thee and all citizens who dwell in Athens or the bounds of treason. Why now? Hath some strange calamity overtaken these two neighboring cities? In a brief, Hippolytus is dead. 'Tis true one slender thread still links him to the light of life, though. And who slew him? Did some husband come to blows with him, one whose wife, like mine, had suffered brutal violence at his hands? Nay, he perished through those steeds that drew his chariot, and through the curses thou didst utter, praying to thy sire, the ocean king, to slay thy son. Ye gods and King Poseidon, thou hast proved my parentage by hearkening to my prayer. Say now how he perished, how fell the uplifted hand of justice to smite the villain who dishonored me. Hard by the wave-beat shore were we combing out his horse's manes, weeping the while, for one had come to say that Hippolytus was harshly exiled by thee, and never more would return to set foot in this land. Then came he, telling the same doleful tale to us upon the beach, and with him was a countless throng of friends who followed after. At length he stayed his lamentations and spake, Why weakly rave on this wise? My father's commands must be obeyed. Servants, harness my horses to the chariot. This is no longer now my city. Thereupon each one of us bestirred himself, and ere a man could say 'twas done, we had the horses standing ready at our master's side. Then he caught up the reins from the chariot rail, first fitting his feet exactly on the hollows made for them. But first with outspread palms he called upon the gods. O Zeus, now strike me dead if I have sinned, and let my father learn how he is wronging me, in death at least, if not in life. Therewith he seized the whip and lashed each horse in turn, while we, close by his chariot near the reins, kept up with him along the road that leads direct to Argos and Epidaurus. And just as we were coming to a desert spot, a strip of sand beyond the borders of this country, sloping right to the Saronic Gulf, there issued thence a deep rumbling sound, as if it were an earthquake, fearsome noise, and the horses reared their heads and pricked their ears, while we were filled with wild alarms to know whence came the sound. When as we gazed toward the wave-beat shore, a wave tremendous we beheld towering to the skies, so that from our view the cliffs of Scirion vanished, for it hid the isthmus of the rock of Aesculapius. Then swelling and frothing with a crest of foam, the sea discharged it toward the beach, where stood the harnessed car. And in the moment that it broke, that mighty wall of waters, there issued from the wave a monstrous bull, whose bellowing filled the land with fearsome echoes, a sight too awful as it seemed to us who witnessed it. A panic seized the horses there and then, but our master, to horses' ways quite used, gripped in both hands his reins, and tying them to his body, pulled them backward as the sailor pulls his oar. But the horses gnashed the forged bits between their teeth and bore him wildly on, regardless of their master's guiding hand. And oft as he would take the guiding rein and steer for softer ground, showed that the bull in front to turn him back again, maddening his team with terror. But if in their frantic career they ran towards the rocks, he would draw nigh the chariot rail, keeping up with them until suddenly, dashing the wheel against a stone, he upset and wrecked the car. Then was dire confusion, axle bones and linchpins springing into the air, while he, poor youth, entangled in the reins, was dragged along, bound by a stubborn knot, his poor head dashed against the rock, his flesh all torn, the while he cried out piteously, "Stay, stay, my horses, whom my own hand hath fed at the manger, destroy me not. O luckless curse of a father, will no one come and save me for all my virtue?" Now we, though we much longed to help, were left far behind. At last, I know not how, he broke loose from the shapely reins that bound him, a faint breath of life still in him, and the horses disappeared, and that portentous bull among the rocky ground, I know not where. But I am a slave in thy house, 'tis true, O king, yet will I never believe so monstrous a charge against thy son's character. Though the whole race of womankind should hang itself, or one should fill with writings every pine-tree tablet grown on Ida, sure as I am of his uprightness. New troubles have come to plague us, nor is there any escape from fate. My hatred for him who hath thus suffered made me glad at thy tidings, yet from regard for the gods, because he is my son, I will feel neither joy nor sorrow at his sufferings. But say then, king, are we to bring the victim hither, or how are we to fulfill thy wishes? If thou wouldst be schooled by me, thou wilt not harshly treat thy son in his sad plight. Bring him hither, that when I see him face to face, who hath denied having polluted my wife's honor, I may by words and heaven's visitation convict him. The messenger departs. O Cypris, thy hand that guides the stubborn hearts of men, thine and that attendant's boy who, with painted plumage gay, flutters round his victims on lightning wing, over the land booming deep on golden pinion form flits the god of love, maddening the heart and beguiling the senses of all whom he attacks. Savage whelps on mountain breads, ocean monsters, creatures of this sun-worn earth, and man, thine, O Cypris, thine alone the sovereign power to rule them all. Artemis appears above. Hearken, I bid thee, noble son of Aegeus, 'tis I, Latona's child, that speak, I, Artemis. Why, Theseus, to thine sorrow dost thou rejoice at these tidings, seeing that thou hast slain thy son most impiously, listening to a charge not clearly proved, but falsely sworn to by thy wife, though clearly has the curse therefrom upon thee fallen? Why doubt'st thou not for very shame hide beneath the dark places of the earth, or change thy human life and soar on wings to escape this tribulation? Amongst men of honor thou hast no share in this life. Hearken, Theseus, I will put thy wretched case, yet will it not avail thee, if I do but vex thy heart. Still with this intent I came, to show thy son's pure heart, that he may die with honor, as well the frenzy and in a sense the nobleness of thy wife, for she was cruelly stung with a passion for thy son by that goddess whom we all, that joy and virgin purity, defeat. And though she strove to conquer love by resolution, yet by no fault of hers she fell, thanks to her nurse's strategy, who did reveal her malady unto thy son under oath. But he would none of her counsels, as indeed was right, nor yet, when thou didst revile him, would he break the oath he swore. She, meantime, fearful of being found out, wrote a lying letter, destroying by guile thy son, and persuading thee. And this is my fate? Doth my story wound thee, Theseus? Be still awhile, hear what follows, so wilt thou have more cause to groan. Dost remember that those 3 prayers thy father granted thee, fraught with certain issue? 'Tis one of these thou hast misused, unnatural wretch, against thy son, instead of aiming it at an enemy. Thy sea-god sire, 'tis true, for all his kind intent, hath granted that boon he was compelled by reason of his promise to grant. But thou alike in his eyes and in mine hast shown thy evil heart, and that thou hast forestalled all proof or voice prophetic, hast made no inquiry, nor taken time for consideration, but with undue haste cursed thy son to death. O may perdition seize me, Queen reverend! An awful deed was thine, but still even for this may thou obtain pardon. For it was Cypris that would have it so, stating the fury of her soul. For this is the law amongst us gods, none of us will thwart his neighbor's will, but ever we stand aloof. For be well assured, did I not fear Zeus, nor would I have incurred the bitter shame of handing over to death a man of all his kind to me most dear. As for thy sin, first thy ignorance absolves thee from its villainy. Next thy wife, who is dead, was lavish in her use of convincing arguments to influence thy mind. On thee in chief this storm of woe hath burst, yet it is some grief to me as well, for when the righteous die there is no joy in heaven, albeit we try to destroy the wicked, house and home. Where he comes, this hapless youth, his fair young flesh and auburn locks most shamefully handled. Unhappy house, what twofold sorrow doth overtake its halls. Hippolytus enters, assisted by his attendants. Foully undone by an impious father's impious imprecation. Undone, undone, woe is me. Through my head dart fearful pains. My brain throbs convulsively. Stop, let me rest my worn-out frame. O accursed steeds that mine own hand did feed, ye hath been my ruin and my death. O by the gods, good sirs, beseech ye, softly touch my wounded limbs. Who stands there at my right side? Lift me tenderly, with slow and even step conduct a poor wretch cursed by this mistaken sire. Great Zeus, dost thou see this? Me, thy reverent worshipper, me who left all men behind in purity, plunged thus into yawning Hades, beneath the earth, bereft of life. In vain the toils I have endured through my piety towards mankind. Oh, the thrill of anguish shooting through me. Set me down, poor wretch I am. Come, death, to set me free. Kill me. End my sufferings. Oh, for a sword two-edged to hack my flesh and close this mortal life. Ill-fated curse of my father, the crimes of bloody kinsmen, ancestors of old, now pass their boundaries and tarry not, and upon me are they come, all guiltless as I am. Why, alas, what can I say? How from my life get rid of this relentless agony? Oh, that the stern death god, night's black visitant, would give my sufferings rest. Poor sufferer, cruel the fate that links thee to it. Thy noble soul hath been thy ruin. The fragrance from my goddess wafted, even in my agony I feel thee near and find relief. She is here in this very place, my goddess Artemis. She is, my dear, you poor suffering soul. The goddess thou hast loved the best is here beside you. Dost see me, mistress mine? Dost see my present suffering? I do see thee, but my eyes may weep no tears. Thou hast now done to lead the hunt, or tend thy fane. Now, even yet in death, I love thee still. You will have none to groom thy steeds, or guard thy shrines. It was Cypris, mistress of iniquity, devised this evil. Then now I know the goddess who destroyed me. She was jealous of her slighted honor, vexed at thy chaste life. Then I see her single hand has struck me down, has struck down all three. Yes, thy sire and thee, and last thy father's wife. My father's ill luck as well as mine I mourn. He was deceived by a goddess's design. Woe is thee, my father, in this sad mischance. My son, My son, I am a ruined man, for life has no joy for me. For this mistake I mourn thee rather than myself. Oh, that I had died for thee, my son. I should have done it. Those fatal gifts thy sire Poseidon gave. Would God these lips had never uttered that prayer. But why not? Thou wouldst in any case have slain me in thy fury. Yes, for heaven had perverted my power to think. Oh, that the race of men could bring a curse upon the gods. Say no more, for thou hast passed to gloom beneath the earth. The wrath of Cypris shall not at her will fall on thee unrequited, because thou hast a noble and righteous soul. For I with mine own hand will with these unerring shafts avenge me on another, who is her votary, dearest to her of all the sons of men. And to thee, poor sufferer, for thy anguish now will grant high honors in the city of treason. For thee shall have maids unwed before thy marriage cut off their hair, thy harvest through the long roll of time of countless bitter tears. Yea, and forever shall the virgin choir hymn thy sad memory, nor shall Phaedra's love for thee fall into oblivion and pass away unnoticed. But thou, O son of old Aegeus, take thy son in thy arms now, draw him close to thee, for unwittingly hast thou slew him, and may men well commit an error when gods put it in their way. In thee, Hippolytus, I admonish, hate not that sire, for in this death thou dost but meet thy destined fate. And now farewell, 'tis not for me to gaze upon the dead, or pollute my sight with scenes of death. Farewell then, blessed Virgin Queen, leave me now, easily thou reignest our long friendship. I am reconciled with my father at thy desire, for ever before I would obey thy bidding. The darkness is settling now upon my eyes. Take me, Father, in thy arms, lift me up. My son, what art thou doing to thy helpless sire? I am a broken man, Father. Yes, I see the gates close upon the dead. Canst leave me thus with murder on my soul? Father, I set thee free from this blood guilt. What sayest thou? You dost absolve me from your bloodshed? Artemis, the archer queen, is my witness that I do. My own dear child, how generous dost thou show thyself to thy father. Farewell now, Father, a long farewell to thee. Oh, that holy, noble soul of thine. Pray to have children such as me born in lawful wedlock. No, leave me not, my son. Endure here with me a little while longer. No, Father, my endurance is at an end. I die. Quickly veil my face with a mantle. O glorious Athens, realm of Pallas, what a splendid hero ye have lost. How oft shall I remember thy evil works, O Cypris? On all our citizens have come this universal sorrow. Now shall the copious tears gush forth, for sad news about great men takes more than usual hold upon the heart. The end.